Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. Welcome to the Vee Academy. My name is Crumbrion, Professor Crumbrion, if you would. And today, we're going to be taking a look at a wonderful game that we played on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live. And be happy to get your reactions to it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. If you want to follow me and watch games in real time, check me out on twitch.tv/Crumbrion. For now, let's go check out the game. Thanks for watching.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hello YouTube, welcome back to yet another wonderful video got here for you. This one I wanted to highlight one of the more recent changes that we've made to our Peri Peri Pult list here. It was a very intriguing one. We're going to take a look here in this matchup. We're going to be facing against one of the hardest counters, or at least was the hardest counters to this deck, facing into Crustle. So in this particular matchup, we've actually included something that clears up a bunch of different matchups for us. Not just this matchup, but a bunch of different ones. It's going to be Chi-Yu. It will be Chi-Yu is a difference maker in this matchup. So very intriguing card. So we'll see it here in just a moment. So they're going to start the Cottony. This matchup does end up running a Whimsicott EX in it as well. So we see the Dwebble hit the board here. Pretty slow start for us though. We just have a Dreepy start here with the Pokepads. So we're going to have to make a few different things, make a move here. As we do have a Blaziken in hand, but we do have the Rare Candy Blaziken, but not really a strong enough hand for us to really have a start here. So not sure exactly what the Whimsicott does, so we just take a look over it quickly here. The Wondrous Cotton, 50 damage per trainer in hand. So now we have to play around that particular attack, because if we're going for an item lock here, we leave one single trainer card in our hand, they easily just take a knockout on Budew. So we can play around this. Fortunate enough to get the Buddy Poffin on this opening here. So we do have the Energy Retreat into Budew. We do have a Pokepad. We do have an Ultra Ball. So we can start thinning our hand down, removing some supporters or some items and tools from our hand, or trainer cards from our hand. And so thinning that down is kind of important as to this next piece here. We're going to get Budew out. We're going to get the debating on what we want to do here, because we could go for an Ultra Ball here. We lose a Night Stretcher, which is a very important piece, obviously, because Chi-Yu is an absolutely golden resource for us into Crustle, with the limited attacking options that we do have into Crustle. So a bit of a debate here, because otherwise we'd lose a Drakloak here as well, which is difficult to determine what we want, because we don't want the item cards in hand. Rare Candy obviously is an item card. Night Stretcher obviously is an item card. We could have used the Night Stretcher to retrieve back a Drakloak. Similar sort of deal here, but we don't really exactly want to get rid of the Drakloak just to get it right back in our hand here. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a Meowth for the next turn. I'm not going to put Meowth down this turn, obviously, because a brand new hand means that we have a chance to get items and trainer cards that we just can't get rid of. So we're going to play this a little bit slow. We have the guaranteed Drakloak in hand. We keep that there. We have the Itchy Pollen on the Whimsicott, slow them down for items here, and now we know that we're guaranteed to not have a knockout here on Budew, because Wondrous Cotton will do 0 damage. My opponent does not know this. We have one single trainer card, though. They do 50 damage here. They are going to go for the Wondrous Cotton and go for 0 damage, because we did thin our hand down of those trainer cards. So Risky Ruins here, that is playable. We can put that down. Now we can start rolling here with Meowth. We can start grabbing... we can grab a Lily's Determination here. We could have gone for a Dawn here, but then we would leave our... we can go for a Dawn here, because Lily's Determination actually does, again, create a situation where we're going to have a bunch of uncontrollable trainer cards in our hand. So we can just start building up our board state here. We're going to opt for the Torchic on this turn. We have 2 draw with Drakloak, so we can start building back our hand a little bit more controlled, a little bit more methodical here. So a little bit more control over what we draw here with Recon Directive. Recon, we could grab a Boss's Orders, but again, that's 50 damage on board we don't want to leave. Fezandipiti obviously gets us more cards. Shaymin over Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball does thin our hand down, but we don't exactly want to grab any Pokemon here necessarily. There's not a whole lot of Pokemon that we would look to be grabbing at this point. So it is just going to be the Shaymin to limit the amount of trainer cards that we have in our hands so that Wondrous Cotton is less effective yet again this turn. So one more Itchy Pollen here means that Whimsicott, again, if they use Wondrous Cotton, then we get 0 damage. If they use Energy Gift, then they're not taking a knockout. So a few different things that we could do here on this turn. We opt for the safer of the plays. So they're going to be choosing a new active Pokemon here. 0 retreat cost on the Whimsicott EX. They're just going to go for an Ascension on the Dwebble into a Crustle on this turn. So again, having control over the amount of trainers that we have in hand, very important. Making sure, and now that Dwebble is in the active slot, they're committing to putting a Crustle into play. We will not be seeing the Wondrous Cotton be effective, at least right now. So now we can start using trainers. Now we can start putting trainers in our hands. So we are one turn away from having Crustle from attacking. So we have to kind of plan for that now. We have to kind of plan around this. So Crustle does come out here. Not able to do anything. They just go ahead and Ascension and get into Crustle. We do get an energy off of this. So we can do a few things. We don't have the Fezandipiti. We do want to keep that bench space open though, because if we can find ourselves our little friend, which we get a Lillie's Determination here to kind of give us a chance to find that. We did not get the rare candy, so we don't get the Blaziken out. A little unfortunate. We don't want to attach energy this turn to a Pokemon that is not named Chi-Yu. We don't want to use the Night Stretcher because that's the only Night Stretcher we have left. So we do get the Chi-Yu off of the Lillie's Determination here, which is a very important piece that we wanted. And we get the Fire Energy as well here. So with the Pokepad, we're going to start establishing the Combusken. We start establishing the Blaziken pieces here. We have a Dragapult in hand in case we need it. We don't need it right now, but Fire Energy on Chi-Yu means now that we just have to hope that our opponent doesn't have Boss's Orders this turn. We do have Night Stretcher in hand to grab Chi-Yu right back. So Itchy Pollen onto Crustle. Going to slow down their item cards here once again. Hopefully they don't have a Boss's Orders. If they're playing Pokepad, they can't use, or if they're playing Pokegear, they can't use Pokegear to try and find Boss. And they have to just play honest with what's in their hands. So a little bit of a high roll here to try and avoid losing our Chi-Yu this turn, but it is very important that we don't lose the Chi-Yu on this turn. Another thing we could have done this turn is we could have avoided putting down Chi-Yu just to save it and then get the Blaziken out. But then again, if they boss up the Combusken this turn, the same effect, we would have to have another turn to attach to Chi-Yu. So having two Pokemon that are kind of a threat to Crustle here, Combusken and Chi-Yu, we'll have to split the potential here for my opponent if they do, but they end up playing a Lillie's Determination. So the Chi-Yu is safe, and we know that we have an attack potentially next turn. Now we could waste the Night Stretcher to grab the energy for the Chi-Yu attack in an absolute pinch here. There is a Crustle that has 3 energy attached to it. So now that we know this, we can front up the Chi-Yu here, and we can take out at least one of the attacking Crustles here. The other Crustle on the bench, or the other Crustle potential on the bench, not evolved. No energy attached this turn. They've had to attach energy to the active Crustle, and they're going to take a very long time here making a decision on what their prize is going to be. So Chi-Yu being in this deck. Chi-Yu, I know that you're wondering, what is this little goldfish doing? 110 HP, same as Munkidori. Allure for 1 energy, draws 2 cards. And then the water weakness, single retreat cost just like Munkidori. Mostly everything in this deck has a single retreat cost. What is the difference maker for Chi-Yu? For 1 fire energy and 1 pip, you do 60 damage base. Now, if there is a stadium card in play, you do an additional 60 damage and then you discard that stadium. So we top deck the energy here. This is what we're going to do. We're going to be doing 120 damage with Chi-Yu base, and because Crustle is weak to fire, we're going to be doing 240 damage. That means Crustle is going to get knocked out and remove those 3 damage counters, or 3 energy cards, my mistake. 3 energy cards from play. So we are very well aware that Wondrous Cotton can have a return KO on Chi-Yu. We're also very aware that we don't necessarily want to attack with Chi-Yu next turn. We'd love to have Chi-Yu stay in the game, obviously, because 240 into Whimsicott, if we could find the stadium, would be great, right? Obviously. But we also know there's a very good chance that we could find ourselves a Blaziken on the follow-up turn. So we did not find it this turn. So we could just one-shot Whimsicott EX next turn and absorb an attack from something else. So we're gonna hit 240 on this turn. We're gonna remove the jamming tower from play, and that is all she wrote for Crustle. So we know we're not having to deal with Crustle for another turn here. We have a little bit of damage on board, but the monkey's not really going to be that effective. They need to start powering up a second Dwebble here in terms of, and get another Crustle in play. So we could have played our hand down. The only thing we don't have control over is if we pull something off of prizes. We can't play Tool Scrapper, we can't play Buddy Puff, and the only card we could have played was Night Stretcher. And if Chi-Yu gets knocked out because we take a trainer off of prizes that we have no control over, then that means that Night Stretcher was wasted and we don't have Chi-Yu. So instead of playing a little bit safer here, we do have to save the Night Stretcher because Chi-Yu is guaranteed to get knocked out. So we can at least get Chi-Yu back into play if we want to go down that direction, which could be a play a little bit later once we establish Blaziken. But this turn, we know we're a little bit safer. We can play Blaziken this turn if we can find a Blaziken. So off of this Drakloak, we don't end up finding Blaziken this turn. Off of this Drakloak here, let's take a look. We get Blaziken, we just basically get 2 prizes here. We don't get a Blaziken on this one either, but we get 2 Lillie's Determination. We have a little bit, well, we can play, we could play Buddy Puff in here to thin the deck down. We could play Night Stretcher to get the Chi-Yu back in, but it's a little bit dangerous to play. But we do get the Ultra Ball here. Ultra Ball is going to get us exactly what we're looking for. So Clefairy and Shaymin go away. Blaziken comes into play here. Blaziken is going to take the 2 prizes on the Whimsicott, which is a big threat. Is a big threat on the board here. And we have the Night Stretcher in hand to go and grab the Chi-Yu because we're taking an attacker away this turn. Not a very good chance here that they're going to be able to hit the Crustle for an attack this turn. If they do get Crustle into play, then it's either a Crispin to power up the Crustle so it can attack, or a Boss's Orders, which would mean that they're not going to be able to attack next turn, which saves our Chi-Yu, and our Chi-Yu is our pipeline in taking out Crustle very easily here. So 2 Dragapult in hand, Pokepad, Munkidori. So my opponent here does have an Ascension play here if they wanted to. But they also could just evolve to Crustle this turn, not have an attack because they would have to Crispin go into Blaziken. Not exactly a great move here because then we just get to retreat the Blaziken into Chi-Yu and knock out their only Crustle. So they are going to start powering up a Cottony here. They do end up putting down Battle Cage as well. Doesn't really change things because it does bump a Stadium. There's a Stadium already in play. Or it actually does change things because the Battle Cage being there. So Unfair Stamp here. Unfair Stamp putting us down to 2 does prevent us from using the Dragapult, but it doesn't really matter because we get Rare Candy Blaziken off of that Unfair Stamp. Unfair Stamp replacing Iono here as the fraud in the format. Crustle coming out here. They're trying to slow us down by putting out Drakloak, which means we have to Seething Spirit or attach to Drakloak Retreat, and then we wouldn't have the attack on Chi-Yu this turn. However, because we have the second Blaziken, now we have 2 energy attaches, we have 2 energy in the discard pile. We can absolutely just go ahead and take out this Crustle. 240 damage because the Stadium is in play. So we're not only removing the Battle Cage, which is an extremely important thing when you're playing Dragapult, obviously, into a lot of matches that use Battle Cage, and we have limited Stadium bumps. We only have 2 Stadium bumps. So Chi-Yu can just go ahead and discard a Stadium and do extra damage because of it. And now we're thinning our deck out here because we still have more turns to play. So second Seething Spirit's going to get attached to Chi-Yu here as well. And then we're going to go ahead and do 240 damage, removing Battle Cage, opening up the rest of the board for a Dragapult attack here as well. So they do end up having an attack here. We are guaranteed with just 1 draw here off of the prizes. We're guaranteed that they can only maximum do 100 damage with Whimsicott. And that is going to be the game my opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes. Because if they do put a Whimsicott EX out and try and attack and take out our Chi-Yu, then they instead have to deal with a Blaziken. We only have 2 prizes left, and that is going to be all she wrote. So Chi-Yu being an incredibly important piece to this deck now, into decks like Alakazam, into decks that run grass Pokemon that we can hit for 240 and take knockouts, and present a single prize threat on the board here. Very, very important. It's been very nice into this as well because now that 120 damage can remove things like Area Zero, can remove Battle Cage, can remove Festival Grounds, it can remove Watchtower, Team Rocket's Watchtower, which we can remove our own Watchtower as well if it prevents us from using our Meowth or what have you. So very potent attacker here in Chi-Yu, much of a difference maker here in this deck as well. So if you've been trying out Chi-Yu, and is a newer addition to this deck, if you've been trying out Chi-Yu, you're ahead of the curve, let me know in the comments section below here, and be very happy to hear what you've been doing. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.